You already know what it is, family. Chauncey, aka the Black Separatist, right back at you once again with another GMOGMedia TV conversation. So, real quick, I want to talk about Black Panther. Seen it again yesterday with my kids, and you know there was some things that I wanted to actually talk about and break down in terms of the two main characters in the movie. That's King T'Challa, played by Chadwick Boseman, and Erik Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan. Of course, you know, in my first reaction review of the movie, everyone did a phenomenal job, but specifically, in my opinion, the two people who did like a tremendous job in terms of just ascending as an actor was Michael B. Jordan playing Erik Killmonger, and the sister who played King T'Challa's sister, known as Shuri. She killed it, and I think a lot of people agree that was like her breakout role. That was awesome. But in terms of the film, right, I want to break a couple things down. After like being so emotionally charged up, seeing it for the first time last week, and now seeing it again second time, you kind of like can break down stuff and things of that nature. So first and foremost, and I'm going back to the two main characters, King T'Challa and Erik Killmonger. Okay, these brothers were two very distinct individuals, and they represent a dynamic in Black society, in my opinion. You had King T'Challa, who grew up in a royal family. Father was a king. Obviously grew up in a two-parent household. Had everything, you know, he was born to wealth. He had as much resources as he possibly could, you know, because of his family. And again, he was well off with a limited supply of resources. Erik Killmonger was the opposite. Grew up basically by himself. His father was murdered, okay, as an adolescent, and you know, and I'm not going to give away you know too many spoilers in this as well, so don't worry about the spoilers. I'm just going to break down in terms of my observation on the main characters and some of the plot in the actual film. But as far as Erik Killmonger, grew up complete opposite in terms of not having a structured household, not growing up in a two-parent household, right? And he was seeking the truth in terms of why he grew up that way through his development in his childhood to adulthood, which led him back to Wakanda, trying to become king and trying to overthrow Chadwick Boseman character's King T'Challa, right? And it's like that in today's society, where again, where I keep talking about, my message has always been the Black family structure, how our children need to grow up in two-parent household, how our children need to grow up in a structured household, right? And building that generational wealth, building that foundation is key, especially in a structured two-parent Black household, right? Where you have the father, the head of the household, right? So going back to my point, King T'Challa, I'm sorry, not King T'Challa, Erik Killmonger represents what our society, Black society, represents in terms of our children growing up. Again, you know, and I go back to this stat all the time. This goes back all the way to the 60s, right? You check the Patrick D. Moynihan Case for National Action report from the 1960s, right? The Negro family. But we constantly talk about Black children being born out of wedlock. 72% of Black children are being born out of wedlock, which leads to the children growing up wanting answers. And because of their surroundings, because of how they grew up, epigenetics, that leads to a lot of unstable and sometimes volatile situations, which is what you saw become of Erik Killmonger, right? He became a pro-black revolutionary from Oakland, California. So he had a lot of rage inside of him, a lot of rage, because of the fact that he grew up without a father, right? And he understood at the same time, he understood the infrastructure in terms of who owns and controls the resources in this country and around the world. You hear him say oppressors all the time. Who are those oppressors? Of course, those people classified as white. Those people classified as non-black, right? Because again, we live in a system of racism, white supremacy. So Erik Killmonger knew and understood that. He knew and understood that what the power of Wakanda, which represents Africa, right, and the natural resources that they have, specifically vibranium, right? He knew that having those resources, those natural resources, specifically vibranium, and that is the most vital resource in that realm in terms of in the film Black Panther. He knew that he could use that to control, own and control all of the resources around the world. He knew that. King T'Challa was different. He was opposed to what he called divide and conquering. Now, that kind of thinking by T'Challa is a really common way of thinking, because again, as I've always said before, you know, in the past, in the 60s, especially during the civil rights era, we wanted quote unquote equality, when in fact we were never equal since day one. We've always been inferior since day one. Ending segregation was the biggest downfall in black society. King T'Challa represents the civil rights movement, in my opinion. Erik Killmonger represents the pro-black revolutionary. He represents people who have that ideology of understanding the power of people classified as black or African American and being the ones owning and controlling the resources. King T'Challa called that divide and conquering. Well, it doesn't matter what civilization you live in, there's always divide and conquering, no matter what. And so right now, the dominant white society is dominating. They are owning and controlling all the resources, right? So it's basically your preference. Do you choose the philosophy and the ideology of a King T'Challa, or do you choose the ideology and the philosophy of a Erik Killmonger? Who do you prefer? Right? Who do you prefer? So that's what I got out of the film, watching it a second time yesterday. And also, you know, I wanted my kids to watch it. They're only 9 and 6, so right now they're too young to fully understand the concept of that. But they will get it, because for one, they know growing up right now that image is everything, because of the fact that they watch a black superhero movie with a predominantly black cast, right? So that's powerful. Okay, so excuse me. Yeah, like I said, it really comes down to those two main characters, King T'Challa versus Erik Killmonger. Who do you prefer? Right? Who do you prefer? So that's what it comes down to, in my opinion. And I think that, you know, the resource for vibranium, that particular resource represents the natural resources of Africa today. As you know, Africa, and I'll straight on my screen, Africa has vital resources, right? Unlike any other continent on the planet, right? So this is the end all be all as far as natural resources, the foundation of Africa. This represents how powerful our nation is. And if we understand how to, because we don't, in terms of resources, unfortunately, we don't own or control these resources. They're owned and controlled by the dominant white society in Africa, which is a homeland. But if we knew how to barter and own and control these resources, similar to what Muammar Gaddafi did with the gold dinar currency, right? With the gold dinar currency, that was going to shut down the very foundation of the US dollar. And the government, aka the dominant white society, saw that and they killed Muammar Gaddafi, right? So again, like I said before, Africa represents, excuse me, vibranium represents the natural resources in Africa. That's what that represents. That's what I got the film, family. All right. Excuse the, I don't know if you guys can hear the background noise, but excuse that. I think one of my children are doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and I'm gonna definitely take care of that after the end of this video. But I just wanted to quickly do this video and share my thoughts on the second time I'll be watching Black Panther yesterday. As you can see here, took my kids out. I bought them Black Panther shirts yesterday. We represented lovely yesterday, so was proud of that. Very proud of that. All right, so anyway, those are my quick thoughts on understanding and breaking down the symbolism of Black Panther and what I got out of the two main characters in the film and the resource of vibranium. Let me know your thoughts down below, how you felt about that, and also who do you prefer as far as the two main characters? Do you prefer the ideology and the philosophy of a King T'Challa, or do you prefer the ideology and the philosophy of a Erik Killmonger? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, family. Until next time, Chauncey, aka the Black Separatist, signing out. Peace.